How's it going there? We're going private, not completely live on air. Just um, taking a second here so that I can gather everything up and um, probably work off my worries or frustrations or anything, and be able to possibly make this a pretty smooth video. I wanted to talk plant cycles. I have some plants that I had carried over from last year that might have died if I didn't had not put a greenhouse over them and protected them, and I saved the plants. But anyhow, we're in the south, and now we are done with what the winter or the cold spell parts here. There are basically two seasons where I'm living. Basically in the southeast in North Florida. There is a fall here because there's not going to be enough cold days. There's going to be certainly some cold nights and cold days throughout the winter time um, that will be like a freeze or very cold. Can freeze your plants and kill some things that are used to warm, staying above freezing temperatures, what would freeze. So you cover some of those up, and if you're successful, they'll live. So that's what I did, and I did it before. And the last time I did it here, in particular, it lasted for only 2 years, the second season, and then it croaked. It didn't survive after that, and it wasn't as well fortified as I had it this last winter. Is because um, basically it was out in the open, so I had to do what I could to protect my eggplants. Is what I was trying to protect. Um, Now they've got some kind of, I think it's a spider mite, and spider mites. How you check the spider mites is underneath the leaves. You see wilted, or it would be yellowish leaves that maybe fall off easy. They're about dead, and that's basically what the mites are doing. Is they're killing your plant off. They're not doing when you say a spider mite. It sounds like they're making a web and doing a bunch of crazy stuff, but they're doing a lot of different types of damage to your plants. So um, I use some types of dusting, like Seven Dust. I use Seven Dust on them. Then there's a couple other things that I'll do if I need to, um, and hopefully I won't have to get rid of the plants altogether. But anyways, so here there is a fall season that goes 6 months out of the year, and then there's a summertime that goes summer, and that's the other six months of the year. that's that's the season here. There's two seasons in North Florida, and it doesn't ever um, snow. It's just right below where it won't ever snow here. It might, like I said, freeze up and it'll frost, and it could make the ground frozen, until the sun comes out. But it barely lasts, and the sun is pretty, um, you know, um, consistent um, it, and beating down on um, the plants or whatever. So the sun's very active here. It goes when you're looking at it. I was trying to figure out how to explain this. You are looking from you'd be east, or no, you'd be west, standing to from the west, looking at the east as the sun's coming up, right? Well, in the wintertime, the sun goes more to the right and it leans more north in the wintertime, and then it adjusts all the way a little bit and calculates to the south through the summertime, and it's more uh, what do you say, southern, um, what do you say, aimed or whatever. For some reason, whenever I'm looking through my garden, that's how the seasons change. It goes the fall 6 months, and it's like this over here. So my plants are kind of like in my garden go a certain uh, they're dialed in on the sun in certain spots, and then when the summer comes, it changes and it goes all the way on this side of my garden. So I just wanted to explain that. It's kind of a thing that goes on, and then different trees and things that might be in your way. So we wanted to look at that. I was talking about the plant cycle. So I've got eggplants that are going to come as long as the spider mites do not keep killing the buds off. I have um, a bunch all the time on these plants. They were very active of what I consider very organically grown um, eggplants and other types of plants. This year we just got some onions, and we are also um, we are also going to um, we're going to hmm, um, there's something about the eggplant. A very active eggplant. As long as basically all I'm trying to say is as long as long as the spider mites don't kill the plant off, then I'll be getting a bunch more eggplants right now, and the eggplant is part of the diet that I am trying to look for right now. I'm trying to get um, in my diet. See, looking at things that are going to make me, I'd say, incredibly strong. So incredibly strong uh, food that goes in my diet to make me like that. Very intensely like Incredible Hulk type of fucking strong type of shit, you know. So, anyways, I was just going to say something. It's not showing. I don't see it on my on there. The garden. Yeah. So be careful not to overtill. What we learn here is to take hay, and we learn that from using it uh, a little bit with the animals. They have hay or whatever. So we recycle a lot of everything. So we take that, we mulch it up if we have to. We take it if it's kind of pretty much um, stable, or however you'd say that, like you can put it directly on the plants already. You do a circle around the plant, um, so that it when it rains kind of a little bit hard, and the sand is a little bit above the topsoil, comes up and it beats on the plants a little bit. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep that from happening. So it helps to keep the sand down a little bit. And like I said, here it's real soft, going down um, to the very little hard pan, opposed to how much sand is in the area. But anyways, doing that and transplanting a few plants. I was going to explain what we had this year in our garden. We have watermelons, cucumber, green beans, corn, and tomatoes, peppers. The peppers are California beauty, so I was going to say that it is very what do you say, um, tropically, because it's in Florida, North Florida. So you're introducing California plant to somewhere where we expect to have uh, very very much a lot of success. So what we'll do is we'll take this video and we will add it. We'll connect all the other videos that I made out in the yard, since they're not. It's not allowing me to show them from my desktop here, basically. So we'll we'll import them all and make them in one video, one whole video. Um, so we'll see a little bit later on when I add the videos. You'll hear um, a little bit of what I have to say on ant activity. I'll leave it to myself to go ahead and explain that a little bit on the video that I add with this one, me out in the yard. And then I wanted to say that I'm having a lot more success with, um, I think, flat land opposed to mounds, because the mounds hold in whatever it is, so that, and plus like the natural fertilizers that I'm using too, um, need to mix really good with the soil. And if it's flat, then I can keep it consistent, nice flowing all the way through, fertilizer for my plants. And the mounds also bring in and introduce a little bit of ant colony. So we're going to talk ants and naturally taking care of your garden. We use uh, uh, Quakers. Is that what it is? Quakers Instant Grits. So it's instant grits that we use. You can use cream of wheat or grits on the ants. Ants are really bad here, so if people all did this, then we would help to maybe maintain and get rid of a lot of the ants, at least that are populated around where people are. So that right there, my idea would be helpful for people wouldn't stumble along them, and also small children and stuff. So people like would be more safer if they would keep this stuff handy. We buy a big bag of it and we keep it, and I'm down to about this much of it. Honestly, like a very small amount of a whole huge bag that I've used so far in the last 6 to 8 months, or maybe a little bit more, but that's what I think. And it's only been about that much time, and I've already used that much. And I'll show you how well it's done so far too. I mean, the ant colonies could come back, and that's only if the queen of the nest didn't actually partake in the eating of the stuff, of the grits. But that's who you're trying to have eat it in particular. Because as soon as she's gone, everybody else, when they start to die and they all die off, they either can become a part of somebody's meal, some other ant's meal, or some other ant colony, or they'll die. The whole colony usually dies right with the queen. So it's always as if somebody who is a little bit of pest conscience, I definitely would think the remedy always would be for going after the queen. So, anyways, upload those videos again, like I said at the end of this video. We did a few seeds straight in the ground. We brought in a couple of plants. We had to dust them with Seven Dust. I've also used, but this was up in Oregon where it's going to be a little bit colder until about May or so. This is the Pacific Northwest, is where I started gardening and where I'm from. So it's completely like the opposite. I mean, totally spun completely into, like, if you want to talk about different like dimensions, me and some other dimension or whatever, I just crossed into from one dimension that I study is plants into another, and it just kind of makes you unprepared a little bit for jumping right into that. I see here. I'm not gonna do another share. I'm just going to explain what I'm doing here. So in the videos, I'll show a couple of plants where I brought in. I take um, hay and also used hay. Pretty much, I put gloves on and I'll go collect it all up and I'll scoop it up with a shovel or whatever. I'm talking about um, like I used bat guano before when I was in Oregon and chicken manure mixed. But now I just basically use a consistent enriched concoction of um, basically chicken manure, just steady chicken manure, and I'll collect it all up. And what I'll do is I carefully till. So I try. Now we're trying to focus on not over tilling. Um, so when we till, we're probably going to till to a point, and then enough's enough. Unlike we would do in the Pacific Northwest, which would be maybe 4 times an area, twice this way and twice that way. So we're just looking at it maybe 1 time this way, especially if you've already used the garden area for something and you're replanting. There's a lot of sand, so you got to be a little bit cautious with that. Um, yeah, we like to plant straight into the ground instead of the mounds because it can also make dry pockets, like dry areas, dry socket, um, pockets of soil that when you water it, the water just runs right off and it doesn't water the roots thoroughly enough. So we like to, if we can, till 1 time, plant a couple of plants, do a row, however we're trying to do our fancy the garden, and then we prefer to plant the seeds right off. But there is one bad thing that's calculated in there, and they are the ground moles. We have a lot of ground moles, like maybe possibly back talking about Oregon again, up Pacific Northwest, and where it's a little bit colder. You might be able to control moles maybe a little bit better. I don't know. I really don't. All I know is I'm in a place here where they're really out of kind of control. They're they are just all over the place. My dogs are digging up the yard all over for them and stuff. So um, I don't know. I think that they're eating some of my seeds that I plant, and I don't know. It's kind of stupid if they're eating the seed before it can grow or whenever it's sprouting into a little sprout or whatever. So it just them and squirrels. So you got to be kind of a little bit prepared for different things. And if you're going to consider planting the seed just like that, or putting plants in the ground that are already grown from a in a planter or whatever, from a planter, and you put them in there. Um, so look at you know, putting the mulch down so that it doesn't um, beat your plants up with the sand when it rains, because it rains hard, hard rain. Um, so we said we like placing the seed in there over transplanting, but that's you got to be real careful there. And here we have a lot of problems with ground moles. They run all around, and they're not doing good stuff when you're talking about your garden, and they're in there. So I don't know how you're gonna get rid of yours. I know how to get rid of them in particular, but I just don't have any traps to put in the ground and take them out that way. Or you can also use those gas pellets. I don't have any gas pellets or anything like that either. Um, we went over the sunlight. The sunlight, you know, is coming from the north in the wintertime, and it comes from it's in the pattern of this going through the south more southern tilted in the summertime. Um, let's see. We've been taking care of this garden every day, trying to put a lot of thought into the fertilizers and stuff. We're gonna go with Osmocote, which I believe is about 10 on the nitrogen. And we already use a blend of chicken manure that we mix. This year we're doing a little bit further out than that. We're smashing it and also spreading it out with the spreader also. So it's been going pretty evenly all through the whole area, but we're pressured on bringing the nitrogen levels up as high as we can. So we're going to look at Osmocote. That'll last for about 2.5 months. Um, it's like time release nitrogen, and uh, what else? A couple other things I can't remember exactly. You'd have to look at them, but this is what I'm putting in my garden this year. That, and I'm using more fish emulsion. And fish emulsion is probably like about between 2.5 to about 5 more nitrogen. So I'm talking about adding 15, and I've already probably have, you know, I'm probably already about at 15 or so with the chicken, and I haven't tested it, so I would have to maybe possibly try to figure out some way to test the level of the fertilizer that I'm using now, and they're all natural. It's all natural stuff. I'm trying to boost them in a hurry. So I'm trying to do overwhelm them in a good way for a healthy life cycle for a plant. They're only going to be able to be alive until the end of um, July, I think. Somewhere, hey, quit. Somewhere around July, um, the some kind of horn bug comes in and it will eat holes all through your tomatoes. It'll eat your tomatoes before they can even start to even produce. And plus, having the tomato might actually kind of be inviting a little bit at that particular time. So I don't even know if having, if you even want to have a tomato plant around in this area when this horn caterpillar thing comes around and starts preying on people's tomato plants. That's what it preys on in particular, and I don't know if there's any other plant that it does that to in particular. But it kind of sucks because we try to look forward to maybe doing a little bit of vending and canning. We would like to be able to can some stuff. I try to put a little bit of stock, just a little bit so far into worst case scenario if you needed to have a stash of food or something. I think everybody should ought to at least try to figure out a way to have a little bit of food you have for safekeeping, just in case. And or if maybe you need to take off with the stuff, so maybe you might need something like military rations, like their MREs and stuff like that. They seem pretty light as far as like filling up a big bag or something, or a bag trying to carry off with or whatever you got to do. Um, so, anyways, we've just been working on this place so far in our garden, just trying to get the heartbeat, heart beating of the garden pumping. Just keep it pumping nicely from the start to the finish. Last year we had some pretty pretty nice plants. Um, Last year, uh, and like I said, some of them stayed alive. The tomato, it was actually a clone. I cloned this tomato whenever they were going through all those phases of the beetle I was seeing. I took one. It was off of a really healthy tomato plant. And I cut it, and it survived the winter and the bug and everything. And then um, just right through the last couple of the last cold spells that we had here, like the last one or two or something like that, and it was really pretty at the top. It was like a vine. It died. It couldn't handle the cold. The cold killed it. Even though we were pumping it pretty good with, um, you know, our enriched fertilizer that we made a like a tea. I made like a tea out of it. So uh, let's see. Before I go, I'll see if I can get a couple of these plants. Do 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 do. Oh, uh, look. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can get them up here without being too awkward. Those aren't the ones. Those are from another time. But this other time, I was looking at these plants. They were from a time where I got this tomato plant, maybe two or three, a couple of them. They did pretty well, and they were kind of in the shade too. But I grew them up like over 8 foot, so I was trying to be confident, hoping that I was going to grow some humongous tomato plants this year, above 8 foot. But I don't know. Let's see. Let me see here. There's one. No, that's my. That is my pepper plants. I had these couple of habanero plants. They are bushes about this big, and they're nice bushes. Like if you could keep them alive indefinitely, they're like real pretty. Anyways, they they were out in the open, and we covered them up, sort of just like kind of tucked them up pretty good. But I mean, we did the best that we could, and they lived actually, and so did these eggplants. So I'm looking forward to having some more of the eggplant kicking out for me. Do 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 do. Yeah, I'm just trying to look real quick at these eggplants if I could, or actually it's the tomato plants if I could find them. Here's let me see. Oh, there's one of my eggplants with like the eggplant on it. You gotta see some of these. Dude, so I'll see if I can set these pictures up real quick. Show a couple of the I'm gonna show the greenhouse, what was inside the greenhouse, and then this tomato plant. I found it also, and then I'm looking for this tomato crop I did last year. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Yeah, I'd like to learn how to grow rice. So I don't know exactly what you would have to do to grow that stuff, but I know it's healthy for you. So mm, another time, let's see if I put this old garden I have in there real quick. Show it. Show some of the fruit I had off of it. Doing sweet potatoes. We had onions and garlic and stuff like that. Pretty good. Nice plants all along, and it's really like try to tell people not to be too afraid of using animal products. You know, like if you have chickens, don't be afraid to use their manure. You know, people I think are being a little bit radical when they're telling people, "Oh, that's gonna burn the shit out of your out of your garden, kill your garden or whatever." Caught a snake here. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, here they are. Here, I got my scarecrow up there too. Let's see. Oh yeah, I have some photos in the night. I guess night photos. or whatever. But you see the texture of the plant and how real healthy they are. They're started late. So if I would have worked with these like a month earlier, you know, it would have been different. I didn't because I did it like an idiot. So hmm. I'm gonna go to there. See if it just gives me those. I basically put these just everywhere, all over the place. So here we go from, I got them up. I got them out. This is last year's crop. I got them pulled up here. Goody, huh? These are the eggplants I was producing like in a real short amount of time. I think that if I would have would had not pulled them off so early, that I would have had some record mind blowing eggplants. I picked them all like within like a couple of weeks instead of going like 16 weeks like they recommend. Um, all I mean in a real short amount of time because I didn't have very much time to work with. So here they are. See how lush they are? It's because of a lot of the fertilizers that I'm using, and plus we're working with seed. We grow. Here's the clone I was telling you about of the tomato. I cut it off of the old patch. We'll go through the patches of tomatoes, the tomato field that I grew, and you'll see why this clone survived. Why it was healthy enough to be successful. Dude, I took a clipping or something like that and stuck it in the ground. I have a trademark secret on how I did that, how I do it. Pretty, huh? You think, huh? See how this one? We'll go back one. We'll go back one here. See this right here? That's basically what different bugs do. Instead of growing me eggplant, it rots off. But that one probably grew eggplant off of it. I'm just showing the yellowing of it. It rots sometimes from bug activity, all the way from the stalk, all the way down the plant like that. So, anyways, that's what's inside of the greenhouse. We covered it up, and we have a lot of nice Sundays. So I tried to also make it so I could open it up during the course of the sun. It was opened up a lot, like I said, to the north, on the north side of of the greenhouse, and the plants were a lot north of the of the structure too. They got a couple that far, and that was it. I just wanted to take the picture so I could show how pretty these were, and I didn't get any off of them. I kept getting eggplants, and like I said, I'm working to get the mites off the eggplants right now. Um, and if I'm successful, I have a bunch of eggplant buds that are growing right now, and we'll see. We'll let them run their course. I have new eggplant plants this year that we have out in the yard. Maybe I can do a show later and show those in a couple of months. I don't really want to show my garden off too much right now because it's real early stage and it doesn't give it the just. that it will say after May. So like May through June will be my best time. I'll be pumping uh, vegetables left and right out of there until uh, past December, maybe through January. Anyway, see the sand down here? The sand on the plant? That's what it does. If it's not a big, healthy enough plant, it won't be able to, be protected enough to. If it's a small plant, that sand sometimes beats them up. So we like to put straw hay around them now. We mulch it up a little bit with the mower, with the mulcher, with the mulch mower, and then put it around it so that it's around the base of the plants out in the garden. That's how I'm explaining how I do it out in the garden. And these are plants I still have. Well, only one died so far out of there. This was several years ago. It's probably 2011 or 2012. And see, that's a tomato plant right there. So you see how tall the ladder is right there. That's taller than me, right? When you think, for sure. And there's how tall the tomato plant was up a huge lattice. And they were pumping vegetables out of there left and right. And we were using a lot of organic stuff out of our compost. We have one of them tumbler composters that tumble around and spin around, and then in about 3 months or so. In the summertime, it's 2.5 months. In the wintertime, it's more like 3.5 months. But you tumble it around every now and then, but it turns your vegetable waste or whatever kind of waste you have that's biodegradable, like that, eggshells, you whatever vegetables or fruit go in there. I wouldn't suggest putting any meat in there, just except uh, I've done put um, fish in it, rotten fish that just went bad. Here's some sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes were doing really good. They were kind of a pain in the butt. I don't really know what I'm doing with them. If you're supposed to have those lattice things for all this stuff, kind of poop out of luck because I have them for my tomatoes, see, and so they're all about used up. I don't have any spare ones. I mean, it's hard to dig for them suckers too. To dig down there with like a shovel or anything. Some product. There I am with my duck shirt, uh, jersey. Pretty awesome. Here's my scarecrow. So I use manure from chickens in that thing, the nest or whatever around. I collect it all up and I pump that all into my garden. So it's all organic. So the more I do, the better it becomes. See, I had grass there. I just decided I was gonna mow grass through there, and when I cut the grass through there, mulch the grass in there, it adds probably maybe 2 to 3 nitrogen, on the nitrogen level. So I was trying to do that with the grass, and it came out nice. That's all grass. It died off already, but it was all super healthy and strong, as you can see. The way I had it. Here's those plants. You can see some of the seven dust I put on them to protect them from different bugs or whatever, and some weeds. Protect them from bugs coming in from weeds if you don't pull your weeds out from there. This stuff is all different now. So we'll go through there. Here's a night pics of these. These tomato plants are doing really good. I just was probably short a plant a tomato budding formula. There was probably something I didn't put on there that was like time release, kind of like the Osmocote or whatever. There was something in there. You know, they look super healthy or whatever. They're bomb. They're ready to go, good to go. But um, they gave yielded out too little for even the size, and though it was a short amount of time, these were all so healthy. There's no excuse other than not having a certain extra formula that I needed to make them bud more, and also possibly, like I said, there's a tree where a lot of them were, so the sun would have been beating down more from toward the south and been covered in a lot of the area through a lot of this time up to this point, starting right from the bottom of the base of the tree. It's going to be all shaded all day from there, you know, continually. It's not going to have any sunlight in some spots, but it all eventually had sun, but I'm just saying it blocked a lot of the sun out of these spots. So we put I put okra this year where they're at, where these a lot of these were at. We used those bamboo shoots. We have this mini type of bamboo. So I'm just kind of lucky to have those. Tomatoes were really getting big, and they needed to have something to hold them up. But yeah, that's what it was. So we're going to um, look at all that in particular. Put a trap out there for saying we need to catch these animals and release them when they come and eat our animals and stuff. So that's it. That's the end of the show, and then we're going to just add a couple of videos. We're going to attach to the end of this to make it a complete video um, of our garden this year. We'll just show you some of the things that we did there. We put grits, instant grits on the ground to kill ants, and we've been raking every day. So we're on top of keeping different places like lines and places where the ground is a little bit disturbed, all in lines, all weird because of the ground moles and stuff. We've been staying on top of that also, and keeping the sand the best that we can off of our plants, and not working with mounds down here in the um, in the southeast of America because of the way that the um, ground lays out and will resist the water from absorbing into the roots of the plants. It's just, in our opinion, we think now that it's much better if you can build some kind of put one of them trellis round trellis things on the tomatoes or whatever plants. If they're not able to hold up by themselves, get a miniature bamboo plant or bamboo plants. You can cut the stalk and clean it up, and then put those in the ground to hold up other different plants, like your pepper plants and stuff like that. We have over 80 pepper plants that we did ourselves, and also had brought in um, a few, like about four from another source into our garden. So, anyways, we're going to go ahead and continue this on further to the other videos, and I hope that people enjoy the garden show. Thanks. We put one of our things we learned treat ants is instant grits. We put in their nest. You see, this was a big nest, And now there's only a couple of ants left in the whole thing because it kills them. And it's important to get the queen down in there and get the queen. Alright, you can see what it did to the nest so far. And I think I just put it on there. So they carry it down in there, they store it and eat it, and then it kills them.